Progress. All right. All right. There we go. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna call this meeting to order. Katie, I'm the clerk. But Katie, would you call the roll, please? I will.
Nicole Brown,
Here.
Chuck Boltman, Dallas Ford,
Here.
Diana Gonzalez,
Here.
Juanita House, Ed Carisno. He let me know he was not going to be able to be here tonight. Allison Kruger,
Here.
Ariel Ojibwe,
Here.
Desiree Simmons,
Here.
Duran Weatherspoon,
Present.
Steve Wilcoxon.
Present.
All right, we have a quorum.
Just want to remind people to speak into this for the people that are out there because they can't really hear unless you write on it. So
Okay, I will take a motion to approve the agenda.
I so move.
Moved by Steve. Any support?
Support.
Supported by Desiree. Any questions or changes for the agenda? All in favor of the agenda as presented, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, thank you. We're at public comment. That was quick. Members of the audience will have 3 minutes to address the committee. And did we have a sign-up sheet out there? No? Okay, so we won't do that, but we'll just start with anyone in the audience who would like to talk to us. Please raise your hand and you can come to the mic as you're able. And then we'll move to Zoom. Come on up, please.
I mean, I wasn't going to go, but if no one else is going to,
You.
got to do the thing.
Mhm.
KJ Pedri, Ward 3. Some of my personal priorities for what I'd like to see with Water Street include density, mixed use development that includes grocery options, that includes restaurants, that includes activity options, that includes public amenities such as playgrounds and other recreation options. I'd like to see preservation of the natural areas that do exist. And if we have not yet built or found a building for shelter in the city of Ypsilanti, I would like for us to examine this as an opportunity for placement of that. I think that there is a lot that can be done with the property while still maintaining natural areas. And that's why I want to focus on density. I would like to see multi-story buildings with retail on the bottom or other, places where activities can take place. And I would like to see this be a real center of community for Ypsilanti the way that our downtown or Depot Town are. Those are some of my thoughts and priorities. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience here who would like to make comment? All right, we can do the Zoom. All right.
Amber, you should be able to. Amber, you should be able to.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay. Hi. So good to see this committee meeting. Very excited to see everybody at that table. I am out of town right now, so I'm zooming in, and I'm not going to use this time to talk about desires of my own priorities or desires and also of constituents because I'm going to have the opportunity at the second meeting. But I did want to talk to the committee about the aims and goals and structure of the committee as it's really, really important work that you are all doing. And so, the first thing I want to share is that this RFQ citizen committee was dreamt up out of the community benefits ordinance, which was a huge community initiative in 2017 and 2018 that led to our original CBO. And so a lot of those things in the CBO are directly tied to this committee's work. And so it'd be really good to read through all of the community benefits ordinance information, and it isn't in your packet there, as well as the Water Street Ad Hoc Citizen Committee RFQ, because that is your template for how this committee's work will be structured. And I just want to pull out a couple things in here. One is that you have 180 days or 6 months from your formation to meet at least 6 times or more. So, I do encourage you all to start scheduling meetings after the second meeting, and because you want to have at least 6 meetings, but you can request more. Um, the other thing I want to pull out here, let's see. That, the Carlisle Wortman RFQ that's in front of you is a draft. So this committee's work is going to be in visioning kind of beyond our standard status quo processes for RFQ, because this is pretty innovative first time event for this type of committee where residents and some council members get to kind of like put forward ideas of a vision before this goes out to developers to send proposals on. So I just encourage you to, dream big and discuss any types of ideas that come to mind. And I also want to share that in the subsequent meetings after this first meeting, there is encouragement to do public engagement, so get input from people from the public as well as stakeholder consultation, like interested groups that are in the area that will be impacted by the development. To do some fact finding, you might reach out to certain agencies to get information about the project you're working on, as well as doing the drafting itself. And I think the last thing I wanted to share is that this first meeting also in the legislation, it says that you will do an alignment discussion. And that's not in I didn't see it in your agenda tonight, but I do encourage you to do some sort of like preliminary alignment discussion to see where are all of you coming from and as far as what priorities do you have for Water Street? What is your value system that you're bringing to the table so that if you all go around and speak to this, will find some levels of consensus of where your starting point is. And when I was on a community benefits agreement committee, this is what we did. And we all found that we wanted to prioritize affordable housing that's affordable to Ypsilanti residents and prioritize them. So that's what we did for Dorsey Estates. You might come up with something totally different, but I do encourage you to do this alignment discussion because it really helps guide you in your work moving forward. So thank you for your time and good luck and see you next meeting.
Thank you. Anyone else on Zoom?
If there's anybody else on Zoom that would like to speak, please raise your hand.
Oh, yep, you can come on up. Good evening.
My name is Emily Hawkins. I'm in Ward 1. And I just wanted to say that I appreciated the postcard announcements for this group. That's how I found out about it. So it made a really big difference because this is means a lot to me. I appreciated that. It was effective for me. And I also appreciate the Zoom option. And if it's possible to have the written out URL somewhere, maybe on like the website before the agenda, that's probably where I would have been if I'd seen it a little sooner. So I'm happy that I was able to be here. Yeah, but that would be appreciated also. And yeah, that's it for now.
Thank you.
Other than yeah, echoing just sort of affordability for people who are already living here. It's a big priority. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else before we close public comment?
Nobody else.
All right. Well, then seeing none, we will close public comment and move on to committee introductions.
So I just thought that we would take a minute for everybody to say their name, who they are, their passion for Water Street, and just kind of get to know each other a little bit. Happy to start. That's helpful since I'm talking. I'm Katie Jones, Economic Development, Equity, and Strategic Communications for the City of Ypsilanti. So I am staff, and I'll be your staff liaison to all things city. So if you need more information, I tried to give you lots of information in the packet, as well as beforehand with sending you guys the links and things to all the community engagement that we did last year so that we would have similar understanding coming into tonight. So I'm excited to work with you guys.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Ariel Ojibwe, IPSI resident since 2016. I work at the University of Michigan Hatcher Graduate Library because I love libraries and cooperation and public places that the public are welcome to be in and use those resources. And I hope that Water Street is a place like that where the public is welcome and we can feel free to use those resources together for the benefit of the community. And it's a beautiful and important space, and that's why I'm here.
Hi, my name is Juanita House. I'm a lifelong resident of Ypsilanti. Ward 1 is where I stay. I know the history of Water Street. I know the history of Ypsilanti. I want to see it move forward in some kind of fashion. That's why I'm here.
Well, hello everyone. Nicole Brown. I live in Ward 1. I also happen to be the mayor of Ypsilanti. I'm excited to be here and finally be taking another step toward some development of Water Street. I think my hopes and dreams for the space are similar to what I've heard, some mixed use development that allows for additional housing in our community, expanding retail business spaces that are communal and welcoming for everybody who lives here, but also for folks who want to visit here to maybe come and see about all the great things in Ipsy. And my hope is that we cultivate something that allows those who want to be here to be able to stay here, and also is affordable and accessible and maybe ends our food desert.
Um, Hi everyone. I'm Desiree Simmons. I am one of the council members for Ward 3. And I have lived here since 2014. And one of the first things I learned about when moving here was Water Street, actually. So have been really kind of tuned in and caring about this space and also thinking about how it can best serve the public's needs. I've always felt that um, having a public resource is best. So I'm glad that we have this opportunity to, um, yeah, to think about how it can be developed. Or left be, whatever that might be, to serve the needs of the community. And I think that thinking about it as a balanced space is really important. And how we can get the most out of it will be important, I think, for us as a community, both maybe in terms of having a smaller footprint that might go higher or something so that we can not spread out across the whole space, and also thinking about the uses based on also the cleanup of the space and having a lot of access to that space and really recognizing it as the beautiful community asset that it is. So that's kind of how I'm coming into it. Thank you.
I'm Diana Gonzalez. I've lived in the area since I think 2006 and in Ward 3 a little bit less than that. I don't remember exactly. And I grew up in New York City and I did my undergrad and graduate in the Northwest. And I chose to live here because it's my favorite place out of all of those. And what I love about IPSI is how diverse it is, how walkable it is because of the density, and how creative and innovative the people are, and how accessible things are. And that I feel I can make a difference, that my voice is actually heard. And I'd like to think that a lot of people feel that way when they come here, that don't have the same access to privilege, and that they feel more uh, that this is a place where they could be themselves and be safe, unlike maybe, Ann Arbor or for instance, maybe shouldn't have said that, but I'd like to see, yeah, yes, the density. I'd like to see maybe I come from it also with knowledge about permaculture and city repair and intersection repair, and I'd like to see some of those principles uh, included in terms of the food desert. I don't know if the soil can be amended to the point where we could have a food forest, maybe if there were raised beds or things like that, or if they were, it probably could be done, or if it was part of the buildings that were built. Um, uh, as well as affordable housing, I think is a huge thing. And then respecting the land for what it is in terms of a floodplain, and that it was important to the indigenous people before we came here, and making sure we honor that. And of course, the trail for it to be as intact as possible.
Hello, Dallas Ford. I moved here in 2017 and I'm a Ward 3 resident. And Water Street was actually my introduction to Ypsilanti politics too. Um, and so it felt nice to throw my hat in the ring, knowing that it's been a through line in my experience in Ypsilanti. And um, I I guess my hopes and dreams for the project or this committee is really just to codify what we've all been hearing from the community about things that they want. And I look forward to being a collaborative member and making that happen.
Hi, how y'all doing? My name is Deron Witherspoon Sr. I'm an Ypsilanti resident. I'm the founder and CEO of Power Peace Enterprises. We're a local advocacy and outreach organization, grassrooted, straight right here in 4819897 area. Um, I'm a executive community liaison. I try to be the bridge and communication between all levels of government and communities here, from 2-year-olds all the way to whoever. I recognize the importance of this platform and letting our voices be heard. So this is very kind of scary for me, but I know that I got to inspire people to know that we can come straight out the projects and let our voice be heard. So I want to make sure that our community is represented as a whole, and I want to make sure everything is respected to the level that we represent ourselves in this time of push that we need to do right now and elevate as a community. So.
My name is Chuck Boltman. I live a few blocks from here in Ward 1. I also live about a few hundred feet from the Water Street site, and I wanted to be a part of this effort to bring about the best, most vibrant addition to the city that we can bring about. So I look forward to getting the best project we can.
I'm Steve Wilcoxon. I'm a Ward 2 rep and Mayor Pro Tem. I've been living in Ypsilanti since 1994, so just over 30 years. Been through a lot with Water Street. You know, I watched a lot of the machinations of getting it, buying the property, and all the different levels of cleanup that have happened. And then, you know, the history in terms of, you know, trying to cite a community center there that didn't work. That was a big political debacle, for lack of a better word. You know, I've been involved in the time that I've been on city council in terms of, you know, getting the cleanup and defining what needs to be cleaned up and getting that taken care of. And we're moving right along with that. And that kind of sets the way that has happened, kind of sets the way I'm looking at it as well, is that it's happened in phases, right? And so we've cleaned up in phases, and the most recently, you know, within 3 phases. And I think that, you know, the time that we spend deliberating here on what we want is important, but also the time we give ourselves to have the development happen. And so having everything developed all at once is one way to go about it, but having, you know, having it phased in has its advantages too. And so looking forward to that. A lot of things that people have said in terms of, you know, affordable housing, you know, mixed use, those kinds of things. I've seen a lot of the plans that have come before council previously, and they're kind of cookie cutter, right? And, you know, they have, you know, the same basic plan. And what I want to see is group really come to is more creative ways to approach that. You know, it's like we have a great city that has history, but we also have a chance to make this a new thing that is connected to the city culturally and connects downtown. You know, this is just down the street, and having that be a connection to downtown. So, you know, all the things that people have said pretty much aligned with that. But I really do want to give this more creative thinking than, you know, the kinds of things that we've seen before.
Hello, my name is Allison Krieger. I am, my family and I live up in Normal Park. We've also lived over by Depot Town, been here since 2010. Absolutely adore the community because it provides so much diversity, and also diversity within socioeconomic kind of standings. My daughter has friends of all types. We kind of refer to this community as free range. She's just allowed to run out the door and go meet friends at the library, go play down at the park, whatever she wants to. It's very important to me to see the community spaces as spaces for everyone. So I'm also an ecologist. I have a pretty extensive like history with brownfield restoration. I've been on the Brownfield Authority, so I'm hoping I can bring those skills to help solve problems so that we can maintain green space, healthy space, and then definitely housing for our community for this site into the future.
I realized I forgot one thing to say as part of my intro, which is actually that I was part of the group that develops the CBO, and I also participated on the first CBO ad hoc committee that we did. So just in terms of having some familiarity with some of this, and especially the CBO pieces.
I also forgot one thing. So I didn't tell you my history with Water Street. So I'm also born and raised in the community. So I was born here in the city of Ypsilanti, was raised in the city of Ypsilanti. I live in the township now, but long history. I've known of the site my entire life, and so watched it over the years as I've looked through pictures in the folders. It's exciting to see it like, oh, I remember that. Oh, I remember that. So I've a long, rich history with Water Street as well.
I didn't do that part either. I've lived in Ypsilanti longer than I've lived anywhere else most of my life. Only a few short years outside of this community. And so I knew about Water Street when they were building still on Water Street, and there was a flea market down there and all these other things. And I actually remember going there. And so it's interesting to be in this place now, like preparing to hopefully come together to put forward our ideas, what we want to see in the future, because it has been a part of my entire life pretty much as well.
We're going around another round because I forgot something.
Well, keep it going in circles then, for sure. Cause like I'm gonna say that too. Like 'cause I'm definitely deeply rooted here, born and raised. Actually born right in over there, Ward 1 action. I rode my bike. I walked. I've been walked down these streets. Now I drive my own car and with my children and walk my children down these streets. So that's what I was trying to say earlier. Like we have to preserve Ipsy. Like I feel like the right people are in place right now so the voices can be heard. And for those who aren't Ipsy residents, like I heard the 2014 to 2017, thank y'all for coming to our town. It is a cool place for real. And thank y'all to be more importantly to be invested, you know. So this is gonna be a great journey because I see a lot of investment into the community. So for sure.
Were you gonna say something else?
Yeah, I was just going to say I was on the same first CBO committee with Desiree. I was on council at the time, and she was the chair of that committee. So we got the pain points of having to go through something the first time, and I think with each iteration, it gets a little more streamlined and easier to navigate. So don't be shy. We've all been the first time, yeah.
Great. So we're at operating procedures. And so Katie, do you want to lead us through this part, or do you want me just to open the floor? Do folks know what we're supposed to be doing?
I don't know that folks do know what we're supposed to do.
Okay.
So I think that we can explain it too.
Gotcha. Okay. So the next thing that we should be doing is selecting who the chairperson will be, which means then I will hand this part that I'm doing over to whoever that person might be. But I am happy to help and support you through that. If you do not, if you're not familiar with Robert's rules or the way that we are going to do things, are we going to use Robert's rules? I don't even know. Do we decide that here?
We will decide.
Okay,
We decide it here.
to decide. Okay, so we're going to decide how we're going to do this.
Or whether we'll have 3 minutes of public comment or not,
Right.
right? Like that was just
we started the
made
meeting
up
as we
today.
normally do, like in a normal, like a council meeting, for instance, and now we get to decide as a group how we want to move forward. But that means we should choose someone to chair the meeting. We could also choose to have co-chairs. We could have a chair and a vice chair. It is up to this body how we want this to look. And so I guess maybe we can start with open the floor for ideas or opinions or anything.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I don't know how many people here know each other, right? So we're asking people to make a decision based on a round of introductions. And since this is open, right? And so this is open to discussion. And this question is like whether we want to stick to that or we want to have further discussion to get to know each other. And then
do it next time or something.
Well, I don't know about that, but it's open.
Oh.
I know I want public comment to stay forever.
Okay.
Don't take that out for sure.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I say like I'm open to lots of different options. One thought I was just thinking is whether to see like who might be interested in, chairing and I think it's like really facilitation, and I think that we can really help each other out. I find that sometimes in these bodies we don't have to be as formal as we are in council. But some people like formality. So anyway, maybe we could start there to see like who's interested and maybe go from there and see what might make sense.
But part of the point is that all of you have a voice, right? Like you all wanted to sit in the front row rather than here, but like you're part of the body doing the thing and helping make decisions.
Yeah.
And so we want you to feel like you have a voice and that that there's something to contribute.
I would like to say that I would like to not use Robert's rules.
I
That.
Funny.
Yeah, and that if we maybe want more structure, that we could maybe come with ideas of those different ways that groups operate if we want in the future, but please don't use Robert's rules. Cool.
Yeah, that was going to be my main comment as well. And I've been a part of various different groups that organize in a more egalitarian way. And not that it has to be a prescribed, oh, we're going to do consensus model or this or that, because they all have their issues. But one way that's worked across those models is that at every meeting, it doesn't have to be the same person. We just make sure there's a facilitator, a timekeeper, and I just forgot the third thing. And someone taking minutes. And then and the agenda items become like within the group, people can add to it and just say how much time they think it's going to take. And then the timekeeper is just focused on that, right? So they're the ones focused on 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is, so that the facilitator can just focus on the more personable aspects, but that we can share those roles also.
I'd just also like to step up and say I appreciate the take on getting rid of Robert's rules for this. I think if we're supposed to be a creative thinking committee, I think sometimes the rules are just a giant intimidation. So I appreciate the suggestion and support it.
Oh, I was just going to say that one thing we could do, I think that once we go through, there'll be ways to figure out like where we do have consensus. I think in one of the groups we've done like Fist to Five or things like that. When we get to the points where we need to make decisions, but we can also come up with, as you're saying, what that might look like. But that would be another thing that we used in the CBO one was the Fist to Five. So that we can get a sense of like if where people are in agreement or not, or if people feel really strongly against something that they could block, so that there's ways to do that. I'm sure there's other ones. That's just the one I'm like most familiar with.
I just wanted to bring up that there's three people here from council, right? But that doesn't mean anything, right? And the only thing that it means is in some opinions are that none of the three of us should chair. And I like the idea of rotation of roles. But there's it needs to be from you guys, right? It's like we spent a lot of time talking about Water Street already, and that's fine. But this having you folks are leaders in the community, so um,
I'd like to ask what the role of the chairperson is. Like, what are we asking them to do?
I think essentially we're looking for a facilitator. Like I think that we need somebody that helps facilitate the meetings, um, that helps. And maybe we're not even necessarily looking for a facilitator or co-facilitators. Maybe we just identify that we want to do different facilitation each time. But then if we're keeping time, like what are we committing? All of this group is committing to for time. Like how long do we want to meet for? That kind of thing. We have a discussion next about what dates and times and things. And so I know Ariel, you mentioned that you can't get here before I think it was 6:30, which I know I'm just saying it because I know that you emailed everybody, right? And so like just understanding those sort of things will help that person can help do that. They would help make sure that we have an agenda as well and make sure what's on the agenda from the previous meeting, like the people leading the meetings would help figure out those things and get that done. But that's what I'm imagining. But I think that's on the table too for what it could be and what that role could look like.
I just want to also point out that unlike other CBOs, this is a longer standing committee. So what Amber was saying is 180 days, but the way this is set up, this is going to be a long time. We're going to do an initial amount of work and getting the RFQ um, redrafted and get that out. But then there is work to be done when the responses come back and helping to pick a developer. And then afterwards, basically going through the CBO process post hoc, like it has been in the past. When a developer shows up and they ask for incentives or whatever, then that's when the CBO is triggered. So we've got this preliminary work to deal with the RFQ, um, and then a sustained effort to continue on with that work through that. So whatever we're talking about, how we're going to run these meetings, think about that too. It's just like there's a commitment. If we go with a single person, then that has, we have to do that. And it doesn't mean we have to have the same person. We could have different people at different times without, it's up to us, right? So I just wanted to remind people that this is a bit longer commitment than we've had in the past. So.
I just like to chime in regarding like I want to just make sure like we make sure a system is in place to that the community voices, maybe those who can't make it here or whatever, like even if people are able to send in something or have an actual person to get it to get or we have like some kind of community based interaction to where we can get live responses, where it's like we give ourselves as the tank time to make a decision, but we put a community, decision out there time too, so we can process hearing that. Because from what I learned from being in these kind of meetings or look, it's a lot of pressure on y'all that be up here to make real time decisions without having like adequate like understanding of the whole process. It don't be like make a decision tomorrow type thing. So we do have that leeway of time. Like what you say, those stages. I think we need to set a system so we can actually assess stuff and make the most effective decision. So we don't create a band-aid situation again. So
I think that's also what I think of our role, right? Is that all community leaders. So you have the opportunity to go into community and talk to your neighbors,
yeah.
folks that you know about what was discussed here. Maybe if they weren't able to attend, or give them the link to the meeting to watch what we talked about. Like, we are, I think I would put the onus on us also to go out and get information and share information and also bring it back.
That's why I was just speaking up like that. This because my organization they kind of not mostly into this kind of stuff, but they are definitely like deeply rooted. They out, they listening, they getting feedback, they coming. So like when I be talking this kind of stuff, when we sit here to 10 o'clock at night, and they might be sitting in the car waiting to come out, they just listening. So when I go give them a debrief, it's kind of like that's a lot of pressure on me. So I want to kind of erase that system out the gate so we all can understand how people are listening, people are in tune, but they may not actually just come here, you know. So like we have to actually do what we supposed to do for the next 500 years of Ypsilanti, like right now though. So I'm with it. If y'all need my help, I don't want to get stuck with like not knowing the structure, even though the structure we are creating now. But I don't mind calling, coming to somebody's door, and say, "Hey, we got to get this done," or whatever. I'll do it. I just don't the paperwork part. Once we create the system, I don't want to like be in charge of that. But if it's like getting everybody on board, or y'all like, "Hey, I really can't make it today, but don't tell nobody," cool. You know, that's cool. Like we need to get having this a system there in place where we all just cool, don't turn this into like feeling dreadful, because this is actually a cool thing that we get to do, and we've been in charge with some very important feet to fill. So let's just embrace it the other way instead of the like, oh, like no, oh gosh, like no, like yeah.
I
Oh, no, no.
uh I think that the Fist to Five is a very cool way to talk about, make decisions, and that switching facilitators each meeting is a good thing to maybe try. Maybe we could try that for a few meetings and
Could you guys give a bit more of a description? Am I even saying this right? Fist to five? I'm sorry.
What do you-
I don't know that phrase at all. And I'm not even sure if I'm saying that correctly. Could you guys give a little bit more?
I cannot properly describe it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can describe it. So it's a consensus building practice. So Fist to Five. So five being totally on board, high five, right?
Okay.
Going down, three might be, maybe I have some reservations, but they're not strong enough to really stop, or maybe I'm kind of neutral. Maybe one or two is like I actually have a lot of questions still. Like I'm not ready to necessarily jump on board until some things are figured out. And then a closed fist would be a block. So that would be like, absolutely not. Like I cannot abide by that for whatever reason. And so if you have a block, then the group would need to come back together to try to work through that. So it's really just like an invitation for further understanding, or to come up with a new proposal.
Oh, thank you.
So if we have how many board members here? 11, would it still be a 5?
Yeah, so each person would give their consent within that.
So when you explain it, you like it would be a block. So we have 11 people, right? 11, right?
Any individual can block.
So it can be one individual to block.
You could block that, whatever's like on the table, and the group would have to come back together.
And then I've seen in groups where if you do have a contrarian that's still a part of the group, one way to facilitate that is I've only seen this happen maybe truly just once, and that person can't control themselves, but they're still like was self-aware enough to be a part of the group. You could say you can only block once, and then you set a time limit, or you have 5 blocks the entire time, and if it becomes an issue, then they have to learn how to use them. It's surprisingly usually people, they're trying to build consensus. If everyone's voice is being heard, it's people do come together around that. And I think, like Amber said, and I think to uplift what Duran was saying, we have a set of alignment, how we're aligned. That helps also in terms of sometimes you get lost in the weeds and specifics, right? And then if we remember what we all have in common, that helps take us all back. I think having that would be helpful.
So did we get anywhere as far as what we gonna do? And like,
Well, should we use that form of voting to determine that we would rotate facilitators? And then we can also use it to determine if that's how we want to run the meetings, to make decisions. Does that make the most sense to like vote on those two things in that way?
And then for somebody to
What was it?
Volunteer.
figure out, yes, so who wants to volunteer to be our facilitator for today?
oh, I didn't know how, like, I didn't know, I guess I'm a structure type person. For real, cause like when I think of like not knowing what's what or not nothing is like logistically in my head, like that's chaotic. So like if we when we come up with our system, can we still have some kind of structure as to like some like not like lollygagging off or like digressing, so tourists we don't get through our actual agendas per time because like I don't know if I'm articulating it properly. Just
A lot of people think it's
But I
the
think
structure just because they think I think if you think of structure, and I think okay, I'm just going to be truly myself here. I think like in white supremacy and patriarchy, there's one way of doing things, right? And everybody feels comfortable. Oh, things are getting done because we're doing the thing the way everybody's been doing it for the last 200 years. Uh, but in progressive circles, what I've seen, I often get the comment like, "Oh, this group is getting a lot done." And the thing is, we actually become stricter. We bec become really cognizant of people's time. Like we have an agenda. We actually set a time limit for each portion. If it takes longer, like, okay, this needs more thought. Maybe we need to set another meeting either specifically just for this issue or we start the next meeting with it. But we're not lollygagging because we're not going to, with the exception of things like public comment. But even then, right, we have the 3 minutes. Or if there's a passionate issue, maybe we need meetings just devoted to public comment. It's honoring, I think, everyone's voices, but at the same time, it's like, no, we set a time. If we're going to start at 7, we need to be done by 9, because then we preserve that energy and we prioritize what's important. And if we need to meet more often, then we do that also. Or we set smaller subcommittees, that kind of thing, and things get done. Um, but it's not this top down and getting lost in the structure of it instead of what we're actually doing.
And I have a suggestion because Nicole's already been running the meeting, and there's this list with Nicole's name conveniently at the top. So we could just go down it for facilitators
It's in alphabetical order.
if we want. Yeah, that's true too. But it seems random enough. So that's an idea of a way we could choose facilitation order.
I think what I heard, sorry, Steve.
Oh, go ahead.
Katie saying was that maybe we practice using Fist to 5 to make this determination now. Do we want to use it? And do we want to go down the list? Do we want to have a facilitator every time? Do we want to even use Fist to 5? Like we could use Fist to 5 to decide that and see if everybody's comfortable with that and likes that way of making the decisions. Would that be okay?
I'm good with that.
Steve?
I just want to point out that we haven't heard from Chuck, and I also want to talk to Ed Crisno not being here.
Oh.
And so Ed has been around for a while. He was the city manager when this all started with Water Street. I had conversations with him before and asked him if he would be willing to chair this. He said yes, he couldn't be here tonight. Um, due to really bizarre circumstances. But so with that, he's willing to do that. He's not able to participate in this conversation, but he was willing to chair full time. So, but yeah, and I was also going to just we can go through this, and I'm perfectly happy with you continuing to chair this meeting. We've got a half an hour. We're in an hour. So I'm happy to go with any of those Fist to 5 to do that. I think when we were doing the Clark Street, it was a hybrid. We did Fist to 5 in the middle of it, but I think we had to vote. So the question is the technicalities of it is we need to record this, and you can't record somebody's fist, right? So eventually it has to come to a vote so that we get an idea of the consent or the passage of that.
we could verbally say 0 to 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's recorded.
You put a 5, yeah. Yeah, 0.
0, 1, 2, yeah.
Or maybe 1 to 5. But once
0 counts.
There's a block. We would make a special comment, right? Hopefully unusual.
I think 0 counts because like that's the emphatic.
Yeah.
Everything must stop. We got to talk about this. So
And Steve mentioned that Chuck didn't
Oh,
do
yeah.
anything yet. Do you have something you'd like to add?
I would just say that I'm interested in having a structure. I'm somewhat agnostic as to what that structure is. I have worked successfully with Robert's rules and with numerous other kinds of structures, um, including ones that just evolve. So not sort of jumping in here because I'm pretty flexible.
Another idea that I just had with the information Steve brought that Ed is willing to chair it would be like maybe he could help co-facilitate, or he could be a stand-in if somebody were to not be able to attend, or
Well, if
be a-
he willing to take the meat of it, I'll take the other half with him. I just didn't want to take the whole half because I'm always be the first one, like, I'll do it and do it and do it. But sometimes I get overwhelming. But like, I know, like, I have to keep my pulse on this because this is my first time on this. So it'll be a good way to stay in all the way in tune, making sure stuff on point.
Okay, I just we still have Katie helping kind of as the city like employee liaison, so you're still going to be kind of organizing the agendas and getting this stuff to us. And then, do you need support like with like a secretary or somebody to help with meetings? Are there any other like I was just wondering, are there other like positions beyond? I love this kind of like free range like facilitator thing, but I was like, do we need to provide you any support
no, I mean, I can be here
or the city?
to capture the minutes. I want to know from the committee how the agenda is getting set. I kind of made it up as I was going and looked at older first CBO meetings and kind of went off that for this meeting. But yeah, I will need help. I will need guidance from the committee / whoever is chairing what needs to go on the agenda.
Then I very much like your idea of have Ed, if he volunteers, or someone who volunteers to be a continuous co-facilitator with maybe each facilitator stepping up in turn so that we all get practice if we want, or even can decline if we want.
That sounds like something that we could
Talk about the
five
with it.
I was gonna add that point that there may be someone who just does not want to ever facilitate, and that should be okay too. You know, if you don't want to actually do it. So I mean, this could be a good starting place.
We know Ed has given consent to this idea.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, if he goes back on it, then I got egg on my face. But no, I had that conversation with him.
You know what they say about missing meetings.
So can you explain what a 0 to 5 is then? How we gonna do this?
Okay.
It's 5.
So do you want to say it again? Or want me to say it?
Can we pick one thing and just start with
Yeah,
it? I feel like, because
That's
I'm
what
like,
we're doing now.
yeah.
We're picking a chair.
So how about we do a fist to 5 on if we're okay with Ed Carisno being the co-facilitator and having a rotation of lead facilitators.
Oh, okay.
Does that feel okay?
And so that, yeah,
Yes, I do.
what could I could tell Juanita like how I would vote in that case, right? Because I could tell you then how I would vote, right? So I would vote 2 because I don't know, Ed, is he another white guy? Oh, he's going to step in and take over. Are we actually going to get to co-lead and have a say in the agenda? Because the facilitator is usually helping with that. And then we usually, again, I think it's funny that people think it's no structure just because it's collaborative. Like it's still structure. Um, yeah. So, if everyone else knows this guy and, and he's easy to work with, great, but otherwise it seems like, sure, we'll do your little thing, but really we're going to do this, and in which case, like, I don't want the BS, like, I'm not going to condone that. Like, we're going to pretend to be collaborative, but really, no, we're going to have a chair. This guy you don't know who didn't show up today.
Exactly. No, I recognize the position that it's in, right? And I had that conversation with him. I said, like, Ed, I think you'd be a great chair, but like, how many people actually know you? It's like, so I recognize that. And it's just like, just wanted to say I had that conversation, and we're making it up here. And even if there's a chair, we still do the decisions. I mean, that's not.
And I think I gave that as an example for us to practice actually doing the fist to 5. I'm okay with whatever we decide.
Yeah. I would almost say if we just start going through them and we'll work our way to that. Like I was gonna say, I would simplify the proposal for the fist of 5 because that was like multiple things.
That's true.
So I would first say, if we wanted to say, like, do we feel comfortable using fist to 5 as building consensus? Like that be the first thing. So maybe we could do that. And if people do feel good, then we can then go to the next thing, which is, do we want to have a rotating facilitator or a single facilitator? And then because then if then that will help determine. And I think we all can ask for help. Yeah.
But then also listening to that too, Miss, like if we gonna vote on the fist to five anything, I think we should actually vote right then and there on are we doing the actual 1 or 5, or are we saying we see the fist to five as representing that it's a go, so do we just do the like recorded vote then, like, or how do we do the conflict to where you got 10 full high fives and you do have a one or two, like how do we directly involved with that right there? So like if we are taking our time with this, then let's not keep jumping down the bone, I guess, and then pushing so much direct stuff right now because we meeting right now. It sounds like we need to all figure out how we even want to come to an agreement because the fifth to five seems cool, but like what's after that? Like, are we going to just do the like echoing vote or whatever? Like,
Well, we could try that now.
right, yeah.
All right, so
Go ahead.
I'm just like, because then I could check it off. I like to check it off my to-do list. So one, how do people feel about using fist to five? So 5 is like, yeah, I'm on board, and a block is like, no, I don't want to use that. So then you put
You only got 2 options.
No, you could do 5, you could do 4, 3.
you could do
one,
any
or
three.
nothing.
Okay, got
Yep, yep, yep.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that was your question, right?
Yeah,
So
that-
5
yeah.
means like I'm
30
into
minutes,
it.
no.
5 means absolutely. This is like, we gotta talk about some
Yeah.
more and everything in between.
1 or 2 is like, I still have a lot of questions. Like, I'm not ready to like consent to it.
But we're agreeing that we're using it verbally so that it can be recorded, correct?
For all of them? Okay.
Yes.
Right now.
So when we did it when what Steve was talking about is like for general business, we did consensus, but when we had to do, for instance, we had to vote on what were the benefits that we were forwarding to council. We had to vote on those individually because that had to go.
Right. No, I'm literally just talking about the 0 to 5s. Are we saying fist? Are we gonna say block, or are we gonna say 0? Or
Are you saying
I'm
we're just showing hands,
or are we just showing hands and we're gonna hope that the video catches that? That's what I'm
Let's
saying.
say it.
Okay.
Vocal. I mean, because
We're saying it.
we're gonna have to say it.
Seconds.
Yeah,
We can say it.
we can say it.
Okay. That's sorry. Just clarification.
Okay, so we're gonna go around the room. Okay, Steve, you want to start?
sure, I'm a 4.
4.
Katie doesn't, yeah, Katie's not on the committee.
Ariel's a 5.
1.
3.
I'm 5.
5.
4.
I'm a 3 on this one.
I'm a 4.
So then the question would be, you said you're a 1. What questions do you have?
I don't really understand it a lot. And how we gonna work it, because we spent a whole lot of time saying how we gonna do it to make it reflect online, on camera, to document. And I don't want us to get lost down the pipeline when it comes to the important issues that we're discussing versus starting off. So it seemed kind of confusing off the bat on how we gonna proceed further. I didn't get no clarity.
I was kind of confused. Maybe we on the same page when it comes to the voting. Like, I think like right now we trying to just figure out how we gonna like put structure on even saying yes or no as a team, right? Or like,
So it's a process. So this is part of it. And then my reply is my experience with Robert Rules of Order is that it's built in this time wasted around process that I think takes away from us actually, like it's already, I think a lot of time is already wasted with that. We all know it. So maybe at the beginning it's easier, but I think overall in all of our decisions and when we interact with each other, it's at best time wasting and at worst dehumanizing. I think in this way we're actually talking about, what part's confusing. You could sway us, right? Like if this isn't going to work for you and we want you to feel, heard, and we want to be able to hear your voice, then we would use something else, right? That makes sense. So this is the process, right? Yeah. Yeah. Or could we come up with tweak it so that you are comfortable with it?
Or if it's even another form of versus the five. Because it seems like it's going to get confusing down the line. To me, that's what I'm just projecting. It might not. We might be able to do it, but to me, it's kind of shaky ground.
Do you have?
But I didn't block it, did I?
No.
No, you didn't. You didn't.
You did not. You did not.
And I was just wondering if there's anything that you'd prefer.
Well, I haven't done a lot of research. I've used only, one other rule, but I haven't done a lot of research on what. I don't really think we need structure, rigid structure like you guys have on city council. I think we can be a little bit more relaxed, but I think this is kind of freeloading, like freestyling a lot. Because it took us all this time just to get here. And that's a lot of time wasted too.
I would just say, I mean, we've been kind of like, because it was like we're bopping around a couple of different things. It hasn't all been on this piece. But I think that honestly, once it's moving, like it's partially because we're explaining it, so it takes a little bit more time, especially if you're not as familiar. But I find it to be actually something that can create time savings when we're actually moving through things, because then it'll be, do we actually have to talk about this thing for 20 minutes, or do we actually all feel good about it? And then you could do a fist of five, and people will be like, oh, wait, actually, everybody's on board. That means we don't have to necessarily like ad nauseum go through things because people already have consent. Whereas once you get to a vote, then like that kind of feels like a different level of decision. So I have found it, just to say, like, I have found it to save time when we're actually moving through things, because then people can be like, oh, actually, we all like that sounds good. And then you can kind of know, like, we're moving forward. It's just a way to, like, move. Um, so, I mean, you could do like thumbs up, thumbs down. That's how my daughter communicates. The she's like, this is so. I mean, you know what I mean. Just like it could be simplified. That's another. I mean, that's
I have no
you know.
problem with the hand gestures. You know what I mean? I can thumbs up, fist, whatever, a cup, turn it over. I can do that, but it took me 30 minutes to get the question answered. That's all I was saying. And I only did, what did I do, a one? Other people got threes. I could do a three. We can move on.
Can we try it for tonight?
I know, I also want folks to be able to speak who want to speak, and I know Steve and Allison, you both had something you wanted to say.
Maybe mine's just again a question, kind of learning curve here, but to your point also, I was like, I'm so used to the yay or nay, right? Like we just know that you vote in or vote out, but are we actually formally voting on that much as a committee, or are we having these discussions to brainstorm? Because that's where I feel like this fist to five could be like kind of encouraging, and like an open up discussion, but I have a hard time understanding how it would work if we actually had like a formal vote at the table. And so I was just wondering if maybe those on council, or Katie, you could help us understand, like, are we formally voting on all that much in this committee?
My understanding is that we'll just need a formal vote on what we decide to move
Oh,
forward with.
okay. Okay. So there might be a little bit less of the need for formal voting on a meeting to meeting basis. That helps me understand it a little bit. Thank you.
Me too.
Just about any decision, I mean, with fist of five, it's just like, what is the threshold for moving on? Because if the topic doesn't, and this is any consensus-based decision making, is like, when do you set it aside? When are you comfortable moving forward? And it fist of five is either consensus or it's ranked voting, right? It's like you get a sense of that. But I'm looking at our time, and I'm looking at what we got to get through here too, and kind of wanting to get to that stuff too. So I'm happy to do this for the evening, and see how that works, and then have that decision be later. And as I said, I'm happy to have the mayor chair this meeting and come back with that. It's like, how do we want to do that? But I think things like dates are next, the business of, looking at the RFQ and things like that, we've set till 9 o'clock, and I really want to respect that because I've spent way too many hours in this building, in this place. And I don't want anybody to have to go through those kind of sessions. So in terms of how do we move forward from that? It's just like, is it okay to move forward without?
I think that, I mean, Juanita said that she could move her 1 to a 3.
Mhm.
Like that would be, then that would be consent. Like we would move on to the next thing about facilitator. Like that would be, I'm just saying, like that would be the threshold, right? Like,
3 and up.
Hmm?
3, 4, and 5. If
I mean, or if she's like, oh, I kind of feel this way, but I'm not blocking it, right? Like she says she doesn't kind of block it, but we recognize the question, so that's why I was like, we would just go back, see what the question is. And the person who put it up is like, move on, so that would be the way we would move.
Like I feel like just a lot of my observations from meetings is general. Some people don't say what they want to say, regardless whether they got to vote on something or not. Or the vote when the vote comes, then they have to because they was made to at that situation, and they still might not want to put their business out there, sort of say, or how they feel about it. They might just go with the you're passionate about it. You sound the most. We don't want to make you angry today, so let's get whatever she's saying done. But like. Oh, I think we should just kind of like just be more like we just do this like we hear each other talking, we hear each other what's going on. We don't gotta like come to a vote or a fist of five or anything kind of. We can just kick it and make sure we got a system in place and get to the what needs to be done when it gets come to that situation. Like, okay, we got to get effective or we got to get intense, whatever. But like, I feel like we forming the systems that we don't want to like be a part of. Like, don't nobody want to sit here all day and not come to nothing because I still don't understand what's what right now. But like, can we put something down? Like,
Steve said that you can keep chairing this meeting so we can.
Yeah, so
We still got to get up.
we do have things to get through. I think that it's about the group, though. This is not about necessarily me chairing right now or who's chairing right now, but about how we want this group to function together. I think that what I was hearing Des just say is that now that Miss Juanita, you said, okay, I could be a 3 and we can move on, then okay, we've decided based on consensus that we're going to at least try to use fist of 5. And so we'll start in this meeting. If we figure out that that doesn't work, we can always choose something else because we can be malleable and make changes later on any of the things, to be honest. And so we'll move from that. And so I guess the next thing we were going to do then is see if we would like to elect a chairperson or not, was the next thing, right? A static chairperson or not. And so we would use fist of 5 for that, since we just did the previous vote, said we're going to try to use this.
We're going to do rotating facilitator.
Okay. Yeah.
So is the question rotating facilitators, or what is the question?
It's static.
It is
One static, what you just said.
right, but I was repeating what I heard. I was repeating what I heard.
I thought that the proposal was to rotate.
The original one was to rotate. So maybe we should start with that. Do we want to rotate facilitators?
Rotating facilitators, 4.
5 on that one.
5.
I don't want to be the facilitator.
Oh, you don't have to.
Nobody's forced to do anything.
Elect out of that.
Rotating facilitators when you can choose to not.
Or not do
You
it.
can choose, like,
So when I show up that day, I said, no, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
We figured that out the day.
you know you won't want to do it, you won't get selected to do it.
Yeah.
Can if you want.
Gotcha.
All right, now what's your number?
5 then.
I love you, Juanita. You're my favorite.
That's the point. Like that's an
Yes.
example of where it's like,
Consensus.
what is the block based on? And with more information, then
Right.
you can feel better about whatever you do.
All right, Nicole.
4.
I'm a 4.
5.
I'm also a 4.
I'm a 5 for that.
And I'm a block. I don't understand. I understand the concept, but what I don't understand is how does a facilitator get picked? When does the facilitator know they're going to serve? Will they be available? There's a bunch of questions. Are they going to be prepared when they sit in the chair? Because we've now spent an hour and 15 minutes talking about a facilitator because we don't have one. And that is a big deterrent to getting work done that is not picking a facilitator. So I don't understand. I want to shed light on what they have in mind.
Well, you'd have a sign up.
I don't have an answer. I have a proposal. Sometimes people do it at the beginning of the meeting or at the end of the meeting. So at the end of the meeting, we would decide who would be the facilitator for the next meeting. That's what I would propose, so that then the person who's facilitating can help with the agenda.
I also imagine somebody volunteering at the previous meeting for the next meeting.
I've also seen
Would there
signups.
would there also be a backup facilitator in case that person has a car accident?
Sure.
That could happen during the meeting. We could have a part in there.
I mean, I don't want to see the work that we have to do to be delayed because of a process step like that, that someone's not prepared.
So maybe a new vote could be for a rotating facilitator that's chosen in the meeting before, as well as a backup
Or is it a volunteer?
volunteer.
I'd also suggest that two people be chosen and do it enough in advance so there's a chair for the next meeting, and the person who is backup or co-chair then becomes the chair in the next meeting. So that you get some continuity of dealing with helping with the agenda, so the next person in line can help with the agenda and do that. We got a lot of meetings, folks. We got 11 people. We have lots of meetings.
I also want to reiterate that the reason we do this, the process, is because it's more collaborative. It's a way to have everyone's voices matter in the same way.
I was just going to say, I'm pretty familiar with collaborative processes. I'm just looking at this in terms of a bureaucratic process, and bureaucratically, it's not resolved yet. Hence, my blocking.
Right. And so again, I'm reiterating that this process makes my voice feel more heard because I trust the process more going forward. Because what I've seen when I come to city council meetings is that I feel like Robert's Rules of Order are used in such a way to block progressive movement. I'm not saying this personally to you, so I'm telling you about my experience and why it's important to me.
I'm not arguing for Robert's rules.
I was still talking, so I couldn't hear what you said. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm not arguing for Robert's rules.
Right. Okay.
Well, I guess the question then is, would you have a separate proposal, or did the counter proposal that Dallas offered resolve your block?
Some version of what Dallas had offered would be fine if everyone else agreed that that would be the approach. But I think it just needs more granularity.
I kind of like what you had said, like um getting more help and have people more like structure, even if we is buzzing around the actual facilitation. I still think we need to have somebody that's in like a more steady person, even if it's not Ed. Don't want to put it on y'all city council people, nothing to say. Like we need to have like either something that we passing around that's going directly to the facilitator, where like you say somebody might get sick or get into a car accident. Now we gotta just go back another 2 weeks or whatever we structure as our formal meetings or whatever. So
Um, I like the idea that I heard. It's a mixture between what Dallas shared and what Steve said about having the volunteer and then a backup, and then that backup would then be the next chair and their backup. It would go on and so forth like that, if that feels comfortable for folks, because I think that answers the question or the concern that you have, Chuck. Also has continuity, so folks don't come into agenda setting blind, and it also allows for us to still pass the facilitation around to who wants to facilitate. Everybody may not want to do that either. Does that sound okay?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead.
Maybe Katie could email us a sheet that could be the volunteer sign up, and we could sign up online or via email at
Is that a
another
new
time.
idea, or is that?
Oh. No, that's
'Cause I think-
that's a way to do that idea.
Okay. Because I'd
Or
also
on a
doing it tonight.
Doing it at the end of the
the end of the meeting for the next meeting, too, at least to get us started.
Whatever's easier.
Yeah. Because we could just have, I think I heard a volunteer at the end of the meeting, and then we'll just need a second volunteer to be the backup. And then we can kind of get the process going and see how it feels. Right?
Okay, so can we restate the question real quick before we vote on it?
Uh,
I'm gonna say it.
yeah, you said it.
Yeah, so we take volunteers at the end of the meeting for who's going to be chairing the meeting. And the next time we have a primary person, a secondary person backup. The secondary person is volunteering for the second meeting subsequent to that. And that way we always get two people available and ready.
Let me just have someone volunteering to be the backup in the future.
Mhm.
You'd always have the next person. Right there.
Okay.
And the assumption is, if I may, that the backup person is willing to step in the event that the primary person isn't available on the day that they signed up for.
Yes.
And my assumption would also be that like they're co-creating that agenda. No, we haven't gotten there. Never mind. All right. We want to start over there. I don't want to keep
Start on stage.
To
Number
vote?
4.
4.
5.
5.
5.
5.
5.
5.
Okay.
Hey.
Improve my numbers. Look at that. Improve my number.
All right. So we have a process for going forward for who will facilitate and or chair, whatever you want to call each meeting. And so now, is there anything else that has to do with that we need to talk about in terms of the meetings?
So how we gonna know
Our
who's
date.
sharing the next one?
At the end, somebody will volunteer. We'll do it. Oh, no, I was just trying to make sure A was squared away. All right. So next, we're at meeting dates and times. I see some ideas down here from Katie.
Yep. So
Right. Okay.
the April one, the 22nd and the 20th. April 22nd and May 20th are the 2 dates that have the highest amount of votes right now in the doodle. So I kind of propose we just put those 2 out there at the moment to agree on those. And those are the ones that need to be with council and with this committee for the visioning / futuring sessions with Yodit.
And so you're to
So I
reiterate,
just-
those had the highest votes already on the doodle that you sent out to this committee.
Right.
So we've kind of already gotten.
And I think everybody that's on the committee has voted.
How does that?
I can't be here till 7, but I could do it otherwise.
What was that?
They say 6:30 or 7. So
Yeah, but I could be,
Diana,
if it starts at 7, yeah.
till 7.
Can't be here till 7.
But I think you had 6:30 or 7 for the start of the meeting. So we could. And you said you also can't.
Correct.
Can you speak to the percentage of people who agreed to those times?
Yep, I sure can. So, at the April 22nd, 13, how many council people are there?
There's one of us.
There's 7 council people and there's
There's 8 with
8 of this.
Mhm.
So there are 13 people that can on the April 22nd, and there are 12 that can on May 20th. So
Of 19? Of 19?
Well, there's some overlap with us.
Well, she subtracted the 3 of us out, right? So is it a?
Oh, right. So of 16.
out of 16, yes. That should get us, I think, quorum on both bodies. Maybe not yet, because I don't think.
Wait, with council, there's 11 here, right? Including Ed
Right. Yep.
in total. And there's 7 of us. So if you take that, that's actually 15.
Oh, okay, great.
7 and
That'd be
8.
good.
Because we don't get counted twice. So
Right.
15 people total.
And then when we coming up with these meeting times, are we gonna set the culture as regards to when we saying 7, like is it like here, laptop out, everything situated right, getting right busy at 7, or are we putting some type of, I just want to know like that just in general. Because sometimes we small talk and get to kicking it, so somebody might think in their head, okay, I can't go drop my daughter off in time. It's we ain't got busy, stuff like that. I just want to know what's the structure on it, what's the motion on that.
I think whatever meeting time we choose would be when the meeting itself starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think today was looser 'cause it's just our first meeting. So that's why I think a little things take a little bit longer.
Oh, just to clarify, we're doing the 22nd and 20th at 7?
Yep.
Is that what we?
Is that, so, because you were saying.
You guys are telling me, yeah.
Yeah, because we have at least two members who can't
Try to push for 6:30, but.
Two members who can't do what,
start before 7.
right?
But then, yeah, it's up to the body, actually. It's not necessarily,
It's not my choice.
yeah, it's not Katie's.
So
Just put something out there for you guys to, I threw something at the wall.
the 20th versus the 21st. Was there discussion of that?
Yeah, the doodle poll, those were the majority dates were the 22nd and the 20th. Or
Oh, gotcha.
majority of people could be there.
Wednesdays will always be easiest for me.
Yeah,
I know, it's
I
not.
like the Wednesday schedule.
And those are both wins.
Yeah.
3 other meetings.
Are they in accordance to the Board of Commissioners or they just Wednesdays how it's coming? Are these,
No, it's not connected to any other body. It's not connected to the Board of Commissioners meetings.
no, I'm saying like, was these Wednesdays like offset or something to that? None or just a Wednesdays because it's a Wednesday? That's what I'm asking.
There was, I think, just the doodle poll.
So do we need to vote on this?
So does 7 work best for everyone?
7
7 p.m.
7.
works much better for me, for sure.
So, okay, we know 7's good.
Do we
And-
do Fist to 5
On the 2 dates again?
Or what about all of these?
Or the, well, so,
You said to choose these first two first.
yeah,
so
if we
can
could
notice.
do the first 2 for sure. And then I guess that everybody said verbally, I heard consensus that said yes, but we didn't do Fist to 5, so I didn't know if we wanted to do that or if we want to do it on the dates and the times.
You got something to say, right?
Yeah, you can.
What's the duration of those meetings, particularly next two?
An hour and a half.
8:30.
Yep, no, 7:30 then.
Right? Isn't that what
It's an hour and a
you
half.
said?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Bring it in.
I felt real confident.
Yeah, 2 hour-and-a-half meetings. That's what it will be. Okay. Do we need to fist to 5 on these two particular, the next 2 dates, or are we comfortable with the doodle being the consensus builder, and do we just pick a time, or?
I'm sorry, I don't mean to throw a wrench in it, but I just seen Thursday, May 21st.
That was an option.
It was an option, but it's lower for the amount of votes at this point because since I made the agenda, more people have voted.
So what we're asking is, are we good with what is this, the 4th Wednesday?
It's not.
Or
though,
no, it's
there's
not.
one.
Oh, there's one
not
that's
all
possible.
that,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Things got
Okay.
weird. I tried really hard to do that.
Okay.
Excuse me. Am I hearing right? You basically saying like off of the doodle through the email that you sent out, mostly all of us responded, and then that's what we basically came up with, right? So can I put it out there? Can we just use that right now because that's the most effective, and it's kind of like don't double vote on it. Just kind of make it official when we get on a meeting.
So I was asking.
with doodle.
Yeah, like
With the doodle.
yeah, because we can.
So going with the doodle would be April 22nd and May 20th, and then we chose 7 p.m. for those 2 dates.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the conversation becomes, I guess it's a couple different things. Sorry, I'm trying to write down things while I'm also talking. So we are charged with meeting 6 times within 180 days. So those times can count towards that, but then that's a larger, it's the conversation and not the conversation, right? So it's all of city council and it's going to be a facilitated discussion, not by me or not by any of our facilitators, by Yodit. The city has hired Yodit to facilitate those next 2 discussions. So whether or not we want to have another meeting in April or May or not, and then have our next meeting of just this body in June or some other variation on that topic, you guys tell me. I threw out some dates so that we had a June hypothesis, a July hypothesis, and an August hypothesis. And if we did count those 2 meetings, that would be 6. But I don't know if you guys think we can get the work done. I don't know how many meetings you think we needed for just this body versus the body with council and this group. So you guys tell me.
I think before we can answer that question, is anybody actually opposed to the actual subcommittee to this? You know, kind of like where people can't do stuff. I guess we maybe you four right there take a hold of this tackle when we get in motion. Like if we like verbally like, hey, us three going to be intently on this and we can report back to the body because this is we got this. Like, are we as a team? Like, how we? Yes, this is the formal meeting, but we still gonna leave and debrief our team, and some of our team may be the same teams already. This is gonna inspire people to get involved. So
We just need to be conscientious of OMA.
The Open Meetings Act means that you can't have a quorum of the majority of these people in any given meeting, right? So this is a city meeting, so we need to, there's a state statute that says it has to be an open meeting.
Right.
And we can't deliberate on things outside of this process, right? And that if 9 of us got together as a subcommittee, that would not be,
yeah, that's what
that'd be
I'm
illegal.
like to them, to like one or two people, like when they do
Sure.
stuff. I want to know how that was gonna go formally too. Like,
Yeah, I think there might like kind of like work groups that might happen in between the meetings might make sense. And I could see that as an example for doing like some community engagement sessions, right? Like list, where we might go and do something. But for those, even for that, if it is something that we want to put out and note, we could also notice that in advance. So I I would just say personally, as opposed to adding more in April and May, I would rather go through those, see how it goes, but that we might, if we decide to add meetings, that we can add them after, like when we know we have more juice and meat going on, or we have a reason for it, or if we want to do something that is like a community session, that we might be able to use one of those meetings to set that.
I agree with Desiree. It feels too early to like set out these specific dates until we have more information to decide if we need them or like when they would be best used.
So I want to make sure I understand. So we are tasked to have at least 6 meetings.
We are.
So we have to have 6. Additional dates or additional meetings, we could wait to decide if we need more. But we have to have 6 by the resolution, the process.
So may I propose, friends, that we vote on having the June 24th, July 22nd, and August 26th meetings at 7 p.m., like just to 5, yes or no kind of thing. And then in a future meeting, we talk about having more meetings.
I will vote on that.
5.
5.
Oh, you gotta go.
Everybody's got to vote. I'd seen other videos.
Yeah.
Like, oh my
Good.
goodness. Okay. All right, great. All 5s.
Okay, all right.
So everybody's good with those dates.
This is
okay.
5.
Good with that? I don't know if I.
I get your. Sorry.
I actually was thinking to myself that I would prefer to learn more about what all of you value before we have the visioning sessions with others. So I guess I was hesitant that from this process here tonight, I don't feel that I understand where everyone's coming from yet. So I hesitated because I'd like to know more.
Out of curiosity, you hesitate on voting on the number of meetings we need to have?
No, I hesitated on voting on not doing any meetings prior to the visioning sessions. There's a whole other dynamic that gets added in from a facilitator to the rest of council, and that dynamic is not going to bring this group together. It's going to actually drive this group a little bit further apart because those are all different people. And then those different people leave the room and we're back to this group again, reintroducing ourselves to each other 3 months from now.
I think that's a really good point, and I was just wondering only because of where we are with the time and the fact that we have
Yeah, that's an oppressor.
flipped over the
time. Like it's
flipped
this group.
Flipped to the request for qualifications. How much? Maybe my question to the group is how much time do we want to look over the request for qualifications before? I don't know. I have an answer for this or an opinion yet,
You mean
before
like-
the envisioning. Well, if we don't get to it tonight, the next meeting is the visioning session with City Council on April 22nd. Do we need to meet beforehand and have a better, because we haven't even looked at this as a team yet, right? And I don't mean to say we can't tonight. Maybe we are going to be so efficient and just rip through this, which would be amazing. But like, if we aren't, do we need, I guess I'm asking the question, do we need to have a bigger discussion about the RFQ before the visioning process? And I'm not sure I'm advocating for that. I'm just wondering what everyone thinks.
Are you proposing that additional meeting in April?
Do we need, I think I'm asking, because I'm not sure if I've really digested all of this yet, and I don't know what maybe city council's expectations of us are. Can we look at the RFQ after
Oh, yeah.
visioning?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I think that like what the task is to review this RFQ,
Okay.
make sure that you guys are comfortable with this RFQ as a body, and agree that it should go out for the request, right? Like that it should be published before we in fact publish it, as well as discuss the benefits, right? Like those are the, and so like all I made this agenda, so it's arbitrary to some extent. And so like if there are things we don't get to on it, we can do it at the next meeting, or you guys can
Okay.
do things like those things can be reviewed at home or and then brought into question. It's up to you guys. All of this is
Okay. Thank you. That helps me.
And I got a question. Is this visioning session 1 and 2? Is it 1 and 2? Is that set in stone
That we have to have them?
on this date?
We just,
For you guys.
no, this is for us, and I thought we just voted on.
It said visioning with city council, so is that set in stone?
That it's with council?
Mhm.
Yes.
yes.
That's what I wanted. What about in the vision session 2? It's just us.
And I believe it is also that it's in April that it happened.
So yes, it's set in stone. In April?
Well,
We're kind of going through this backwards because the resolution kind of outlines some of this as well. So this is like, but yeah, I jumped in, sorry. But to Chuck's point, I was voting on those dates as dates, but not exclusive to other meetings. And I think the point is well put that, we're going to get through something tonight, but not a whole lot. And I do like the idea of meeting again before the visioning session.
Me too.
So I guess what I am proposing that we meet prior to April 22nd. Or I would prefer it.
Oh, didn't
Will be some other dates. I will say I might be limited, but that's okay. We already have somebody missing, so we might have that happen again.
That's a good point too, is that Ed wasn't at this meeting. And him walking in first meeting to meeting everybody here and being it.
But did vote in the doodle.
For the date.
Yes, yes. For the dates, yes. Not other ones. Fair.
So April 1st, 8th, 15th, and 29th. Oh, no, well, you said before the 22nd, right? First, 8th, and 15th.
Yeah.
Katie and I have to be here on the 16th, so why not?
Fair point.
Does anyone want to propose any dates that are specifically good to them or days they can't? Anything?
Wednesdays at 7. I can't do before then. I literally, like, I teach, and then I have 3 meetings every Wednesday before this one. So Wednesday's not my best day, but I can do it after 7. The 16th I can't. I'm doing a Know Your Rights presentation after school.
I just want to point out that the 15th is a planning commission meeting in this room, so
Not a good day.
it's not a good day for that.
Well, I was,
Or we go someplace else. Or they go someplace else.
or they do. I
Oh,
Ta-da.
we outnumber them. Yeah.
We have an
See,
argument.
I have to be at,
We have
but
a
I have to be at
discussion
both
in community
meetings.
services office.
My point is I have to be at both of those
I'm gonna
meetings.
jump around and get a day. If we could stick to a day, because sometimes I do after hours work. So I don't know if that'll interfere with that.
Could
Say,
we
go ahead.
You do.
No.
April 8th? Huh?
I like April 8th.
I can do it.
April 8th?
Works for me.
Does it not work for anyone?
I'm not sure it works for me, but that's okay. I mean, yeah, I just have a full plate and a young child, so.
Next week is spring break, so I'm wide open in terms of training.
Which is why I'm even less open,
Yeah, okay.
actually,
Yeah.
because it's spring break.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
there's no school, all children. Yeah.
I just want to just throw out there a name again that originally we were still talking about the additional dates that were there. It didn't mean that we couldn't add one, but I don't want us to forget that we were supposed to be agreeing or disagreeing on the sixth, like the other three.
The June, July, and August.
June, July, and August meetings too.
Yep.
But I will make the 8th work to the best of my ability.
Is there anything we need to do to book this room or make a Zoom meeting or anything? We just
I need to look and see it.
open.
I'm trying to find it.
So we're in Robert's rules, there would be an amendment on the
Right.
table if we're adding the April 8th time. So I'll just,
It looks like it looks like it's open on April 8th. So
so I'll just propose that we add April 8th to all the other dates.
We didn't. We had Chuck asked a question that brought us back to adding a meeting, so we never got to that point. So now we have 4 dates that we're looking for consensus on. So April 8th, June 24th, July 22nd, August 26th, all 7 p.m.
Okay.
Where's the 5?
Are we saying it out loud?
We do have to say it. Sorry.
Yeah.
5.
5.
5.
5.
3.
5.
5.
5.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, so we have our dates.
So with those dates being set, like, what's the system for someone who can't make it? Like they is like
we know so that
Yeah, like
if,
just make sure
if we're not gonna be able to have quorum for any of them, that we get.
that's what I was asking. Like, so what does that look like? They send somebody vote in, we about to be voting on something, or
We have to let Katie know, and then if we don't have quorum, then we wouldn't be able to meet. If we do have quorum without whomever is absent, the meeting would continue.
Quorum is a simple majority of 11.
I understand.
You
Is
can't
that-
meet without quorum, or you just can't vote on it.
So I don't know, it might be, it's a, well,
that's why I'm asking.
May, that part,
No, May says you can't. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't meet.
wouldn't be able to meet without quorum because the OMA for that part.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, I've added it to my calendar. It's in conflict with something else, but we'll figure it out. Okay, so it's 8:45. I don't know what our end time was supposed to be 9.
Yep.
I didn't pick one.
Oh, Steve said yep, so I'm going.
Well, I'm saying that because that's what was on my calendar, but
Yeah, I think it said 7.
actually what
I set a meeting at 7 o'clock.
All right. So now we're at the draft RFQ.
And again, if I review it, I meant that I wanted to present it to you guys, so you have it, that you can look at it. I hadn't given it to you ahead of time, so I wanted to make sure that you had one. I figured that some folks like it printed, some folks don't. I'm happy. I think that it all is. I emailed it to you, so you guys have it all digitally. I did make a couple changes to the last thing because I left my edits in it on accident, but I don't know if there's things that people want to talk about with this RFQ. If this is the first time you're seeing it, if you didn't look at it.
This is my question. Has everyone had a chance to even look at the physical document? The
No.
actual document?
No.
The digital one.
Yes. The doc.
I looked at it. I'm sorry, what are you talking? I looked at it, but I printed it off earlier, but I just now seen it in color. And I just need a clarification of the site that still contains contaminated soil. Did this little green map down here on the bottom?
You're looking at page 7.
Yes, 7 out of 35.
Yep.
Where's
Purple area is the area we cleaned up this past fall. And we are moving into the more magenta-y color below that this spring, summer.
So my question is, which site still it says portions of the site still contain contaminated soil.
So we,
I can't tell which one those are.
so that we know there is some contamination in the blue areas, I believe, or that's excavated. Okay, so I know along water or on East Michigan, there's some lead things still. So there's different pieces of contamination throughout the site still, yes. And I don't know that this one specifically lays it out all of them because we have not tested the entire site. We did know that this central portion here, that's the purple and the magenta, is the area that was the most heavily contaminated, and it was contaminated. We knew it was PCBs, and the PCBs, the way to remediate them was to excavate. And so we needed to do that excavation work to make it more development ready. Now, even once a developer comes on board, there will be additional testing and they will continue that. Right now, we're also doing a comprehensive phase 1, which looks at historical uses of the site through grant funding from EAGLE, Michigan Department of Energy, Great Lakes Energy.
Great Lakes and Energy.
Great Lakes and Energy. Thank you.
Environment, Great Lakes.
Environment. Yes, I knew there was another E. That's where I got confused. Environment. And so as we do that, and we'll probably work into a phase 2 as well, which we'll do some additional testing in different portions of the site. So I don't want anyone to feel shocked if we come up with more information that there are areas that have some contamination, because we will find that. That will be a thing. What we are hoping that we've done with this remediation that we've done this past fall, and we will continue to do this spring and summer, is the majority of the worst, which was stuff that we had to dig out, or else it just would stay there for all of eternity.
And so we do have maps that show what has been remediated, and we can bring that to the next meeting.
Yes, please. That's what I.
In fact,
Katie can
probably at a subsequent meeting, it would make a lot of sense to have AKT here and have a presentation of what they've done, what their understanding of the site is, and they're the ones along with myself that have probably the most holistic sort of perspective of that site. And so it would be really good to hear from their perspective what it looks like.
Because that would make a difference on what could be placed on that site, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, and we knew that without removing those PCBs that we were never going to be able to put housing there. Today we could.
Would AKC's presentation be any more in-depth than the presentation they gave in one of the 4 meetings? Because they've been through this and it's documented.
Right, right.
And they use this exact map. Do they have more extensive maps?
Not at the moment, no.
So the implication of this map, which I don't believe is meant to be the implication, is that areas that don't have color in them are clean.
No, right.
And that's not the case.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And the areas that are yellow, while marked landfill, one could say they've been maybe addressed, but I don't think that's the implication.
No.
That they have not been addressed. The
I
only
agree.
thing that's been
But now
addressed
we're
are the
talking about
purple and magenta areas.
Right.
Some of the blue.
Which is roughly
The blue.
15% of the site or less.
Yeah, in the blue too.
The
That
blue
was
as well.
that's what was done earlier by the city.
But we've also understand from just right a few minutes ago that they still carry contaminations.
Mhm.
And the question is, what are those contaminations and where? To the extent that obviously nothing's perfect, but it came up very clearly in the presentation with Bill Kinley and the banker gentleman and
Yes.
I forgot the other gentleman's expertise, but they all said, excuse me, the more the city can map that to the best of their knowledge, it helps a developer to be able to then move ahead more quickly rather than because what's unclear to me is who's doing the delineation, documentation, and potentially remediation of these things. I hear pronouns like we, but I don't know who they refer to. Is the we the developer? Is the we the city and the developer? Is the we the developer by himself? The city by itself?
Part of the problem is yes. Right now, the we is the city because we're the owner of the property and we're the only ones that have been doing anything on the property.
Right. So what needs to be also made clear is what will the city be handing off to a developer? Yes. The brighter that line can be, the better that developer can serve this community.
Absolutely. Yes.
This has been a brownfield too that's been studied for now over 35 5 years, there's data upon data upon data, and you can always find more.
If only the brownfield knew that.
Well-
Because if only the brownfield knew that, they change.
It does, but
Change over time.
yeah, it can, but there's been a lot of current work on it, and I thought it was really interesting in some of those. Sorry, I found the real estate panel kind of interesting, like in watching that video, and I think it's important just to remind all of ourselves here that like there will always be contamination at this site. This is not ever going to be clean, but that contamination is now getting to a level that redevelopment is feasible, right? So yeah, just from my perspective as the brownfield is there's been, it seems to be like a lot of work has been going in and a lot of money has been put on the ground to like kind of like try to clean this up for development. I think that we have to acknowledge the contamination as something that is a bit of a legacy that we are going to see on the site, but that does not prohibit it from being developable for many potential uses. And it's hard to say that because we get contamination. I get that too. It's like, God, but I mean, clean brownfield sites in Detroit, I mean, all these places like can have reuse.
That was my former question. As long as we know, we can know what our vision is for that same site, as well as tell the community, because the community is uneasy. And they're gonna have to, when you talk to them, they're gonna have to be swayed or impressed enough to say something can be built there.
Yeah.
Because so many in the community are saying that's not possible. So I don't want to go out here and represent, and I don't know.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That's the least I was asking.
I think, if I may. So there's been presentations to the council about the progress on this, and something that we've done on council is like we consciously decided to step back and look at this. And so if you look at the history of this site, there's been little sampling here and little sampling there and over there for many, many years. And when it got to us in recent times, it was like, we need to define this better. So we got money to do that. They went out and they made this grid that was much more detailed. And so we have a very good map, which we can share with this group. And it shows what it has been and what it is now. And so basically, if you go from Michigan Avenue south, about 2/3 of it has been cleaned up. So there's different kinds of contamination that have been mentioned. PCBs were the biggest problem, right? And that's a heavy lift for, it takes the most cleanup and the most rigorous cleanup. And so we paid to have that done. And we've gotten 2/3 of the way through. So if you look at the yellow and magenta there, that is part of the grant that Katie is submitting to have that remediated. But the part of that just above that, those parts have already been excavated and remediated for the PCBs. There's still other stuff in there and in other parts, but with the issue being that people who develop brownfields understand that there are mechanisms for them to get funding to do that development. But with the PCBs, there was never going to be an option for that. So we took that off of the plate and said, now developers will be much more willing to engage in those other processes to get the money to do it. So, and if we think about this in terms of the phased development, it kind of fits with that as you go down. That the things closest to Michigan Avenue are the ready for development. But I'd really like to have that shared, all the maps from AKT and the presentation I gave, so we can digest that before the next meeting.
Yep, I will make sure that you guys get that presentation. The other thing that I just wanted to say is that, yes, to your comment, Chuck, but I think also when we release this RFQ, it will be a moment in time map, right? So we will be able to release what we know at that moment, and it will be more than this that we knew in 2025 when this draft was created. It already is a little updated, and so we could even do a little bit better already at this point. And so that's the goal, is to get us as good, but at some point we've decided that it's just ready to release an RFQ and to start having those conversations. And then again, additional studies will continue to happen, and there's more funding for those type things to continue to happen, even by a developer themselves.
To uplift Juanita's point too, that for me, it's important to educate our communities as well in a very detailed way not just don't worry about it, the important stuff, but so that they are educated that, these certain contaminants, these heavy metals are at levels that they're at least contained and they're not going to affect uh, what gets developed there, so that the community can trust the process from a basis of truth, that's not just spewing facts, but allowing people to understand those facts.
Excuse, if we thinking outside the box, I am proposing that we have the AKT people come out. Maybe we come out to the community, like let them present to us, but also present to the community. Because most of the time that when I hear stuff here is because I personally know the wherewithal to get down here or log into Zoom. But I know there's other people that's not thinking like that because they might thinking about how they gonna get their kids something to eat, or how they gonna
Mhm.
figure something out that day. But they are deeply invested as well, and they may miss that meeting from the. But if it's more so like public to the public, not city hall, sort of say, we'll get more like impact on the information, I guess. Because I do remember those guys coming in the suits up here and giving the whole spiel. But if you ask me what they said, the retention level of it is it's not there because like I was like, this is serious because they're here presenting. So like it was more so like I didn't absorb the information at that time, but I knew it was serious enough that they are here. So now that we revisiting that, I think we should have the community involved to let the community know we are at the point where the RFQs can come out because we did our enough job in the due diligence to get more stuff going. So try to come outside.
Not say, that's how you go
I did. Well, I was just going to say, I mean, I don't know. I think I was thinking that I guess one, like how many community engagements do we think we would want to try to really like organize and push? I think, and then what would be the kind of content or like for those, because I think about like AKT presentation being like a highly technical engagement, because it is highly technical information, and when they've come, you're like looking at the maps, you're understanding which contaminations, how the different contaminations mean you could do different things, what the all of this stuff um is highly technical. But then I also think about like community engagement being more around like helping the creativity flow, helping to get a sense of like where is the most consensus on the different things that we would want to push, or um how people would actually use the site. So I think about that kind of engagement, which is a little bit different. It's not like technical, but I think so that'll be something that we'll have to, I think, figure out is how many are we going to try to hold within this span of time. I think anytime we have the technical pieces, I mean, we could we could put up the recording of the, or something like that, or um know if they're going to come here, try to get people to come for that. Either way, I think people are going to have to go to some place if we're going to do that. Um, but anyway, so that just is like me thinking about just that there's different things that would happen in the different meetings. So how many of those kind of things we would want to do if we want to try to have engagements across different parts of the city or anything like that. We'll have to
I was
think
just,
about those
I was
things.
just echoing like Chuck when we thought about like this when we saying like you when you saying like the technicality, like we all can go back and hear the exact report, and we also just heard from her that it's not changed or nothing like that. It's kind of be bringing whoever didn't catch it that meeting up to speed. So like I don't want to in the meetings time we can all go back and watch that, or something can be clipped, or they can make it to where we can watch it and come back and talk about it if that's the case. But I feel like if we gonna bring them back out, we don't want to do the same thing because the community knew that they were coming inside here, and then
I mean, I think I'm sorry. Okay. I was just gonna say, I think what I'm hearing and what I what has been discussed in the past is how do we synthesize information so that people understand what they're being told? We know that AKT is highly technical. This is what they do. And there are things that have taken me multiple times to understand it. But how do we figure out how we present that in a way to community with the same information, but in a way that's digestible to all of our neighbors, right? And maybe that's our role, that we learn more about this and then we co-create.
But I hear like, is we excluding the people who's not able to absorb the technical or hear it? That's kind of what I'm hearing.
No, no. I'm
No,
saying
I ain't saying nothing towards nobody. I'm just saying like people need to hear the technical stuff that somebody's out here talking technical to know that it is that serious. So let their voice be heard. That's what I think.
what I was getting at was we do have recordings of that part. How do we create another version of that so that okay, you heard this part. Now you can overlay that with okay, this is like the straight meat and potatoes of what this means, but you still have access to all of the information. I'm not saying to exclude or keep that from people. I'm saying even I, right, who has been up here, sometimes have to call after or ask afterwards, like, tell me more about what that meant because I get it, but I want to understand it better. And so just making sure that we have opportunities for folks to be able to digest what they're seeing so they can make an informed decision about what they want to see or give us good feedback about what we want to see on the site, what they would be comfortable with. Because I have heard many folks who are like, that site is never going to be able to be developed. There are people who are like, we could build, 3, 4 high rises on it right now. I've heard all the things. So how do we make sure everybody has at least enough opportunity to have a good understanding of what we're talking about here?
It's really cool. I like Chuck's perspective on just the way the map comes off. Like I can guarantee you, none of the scientists like who made this map had your take on, how it doesn't actually talk about what's clean yet, right? Like that's a really good take for like visual, like changing something technical into something digestible. And that's super fun if we can be helpful in that, and that's really cool.
So what I think I hear people saying is that the technical stuff should be available, it should be open, it should be honest. But the user, that would be the everyday person on the street, may not have the bandwidth or desire or aptitude to want to know the difference between PCBs in the soil or lead in the soil or mercury in the soil or name your other thing. And they don't want to know that this can be vaporized into your house or that can't be vaporized into your house. What they need to know is, I can do this here and I can't do this other thing here because it's not safe. It can be made safe. The message is really clear, though. I mean, yes, you pollute in a place, you're not going to get all the pollution up. I break a glass in my house, and 6 months later, I find a shard. I was walking around barefoot for 6 months. I didn't know that. You can't fully clean it all up. That is just the absolute aspect of the environmental world. And so, but what people want to know is, what can I do here? What can I do here safely? And of course, the due diligence on the part of the city and the professionals involved has to be that when they say you can do X here safely, they're right. They've done their homework. But the users don't need all that in-depth background, you know?
You can have access to it.
But you can have access to it if you want to go down the rabbit hole. It's there.
I was just going to say that there's information that I was expecting to have in the RFQ that it certainly is not, and so that information would be good to have. The technical part of it would be good, but then all the meetings that we've had meetings in each ward, besides the ones that have been talked about so far. It's like I sat in here with my neighbors and a bunch of people, and we talked about what uses we wanted to have. So there's a bunch of data collected from people in the city, 102 or something, came to those meetings. It was like, and I was expecting to see that in here.
So I took it out intentionally because that's what part of also what this committee is going to talk about. And so it's in here. It's just not in the RFQ. So if we want to, do we want to see the other pieces that are? Because, but I took that out, and then the next tab over that is the community benefits ordinance, just so you guys can all familiarize yourself with that as well and understand what's in there. Then the next one is that resolution that Amber referred to. That's the resolution creating this committee and what we're tasked with doing here. And then the next tab is their CBO guide, which is a mixture of the two things, right? So it's a hybrid of the community benefits ordinance mashed with the resolution intentionally so that we understand the task is brought together. Yeah.
I was just raising, you can finish your
Oh, okay.
sentence.
Well, and then the next, and in that CBO guide, sorry, I put under tier, well, it's not under tier 2, so it's tier 1 is A, tier 2 is B, and then C, I put potential benefits identified through 2025 community engagement, and that is where that lies at the moment, is in the CBO guide. So then all of the things that were, well, yeah, there's 15 or so things that were consistently found in those community engagement sessions, through the surveys, through the meetings in the different wards, and the 3 meetings that were held in the fall of, or the spring of 2025. And those are listed there. So for discussion at this committee. And so I just kind of separated it out from the RFQ for the moment, just since you guys are helping draft the RFQ. I didn't want it to be in the RFQ. And then like, you guys aren't actually drafting it. I drafted it. And then like, I didn't want that to feel as if I'd already done something that wasn't supposed to be done. And then the next part was just the timeline that council approved, sort of for this, like a general timeline of how things could play out, hopefully might play out, might not, we'll see. Sorry.
No, what I was gonna say, I mean, I think that there are some things like through the RFQ I'm not gonna jump into, because we're gonna go through it like in depth, probably multiple times.
Probably.
So there's a couple of things I know in here that I wanted to bring up. One of the things, in terms of something that would be additional, like as we're talking about things to add, that I think would be helpful, because in the RFQ, it talks about the CBO, and we have this one, but it says that it's expired. So I think it would be good to have the resolution that council did to extend it, just to have that clarity. And then the other thing I was just going to say with the CBO guide, when I was looking through, like there was things that I felt were like missing from the sessions that I went to, and things that I mean, I know both I seated and I also heard, and some of it I heard spoken here, that I thought was missing from that. And so I would just, when going through or thinking about it, because the way it's laid, it's kind of saying these are the other potential benefits to consider from these meetings. So whether
I think we could put like 16, which is also like
yeah, and I was like, there's some things where I was like, oh, like some of this are like repetitive, so we can just to give the variety. So I would just say, like, if as we're thinking about it, I just want to name like that shouldn't be what, like, that's not a limiting thing. And I think that there's things that came out of that we should also consider, and that so by the time we put together the list in the RFQ, that it can feel more full and maybe even categorized in terms of the different levels of what we're looking at. But I just wanted to name that. I thought there's some things that were like missing that had come up as options. But I think that that's part of what we're supposed to be like sussing out. So.
And I actually tried not to be terribly comprehensive, in the sense that, like, I don't want you guys to feel like that this is done, right? Like, this is just, these are common themes that we heard throughout those processes. But I don't want it to limit what could be thought of here, right? Like, you guys have, like, these are all, I think that guide is all, that's exactly what it is. It's a guide, right? Like, I don't know if the sky's the limit.
We can say that.
Let's not go that big.
But right now.
Yeah. The last thing I was just gonna ask, I mean, I know we didn't put a specific end date time, but we are after 9, and so oh, okay. Do you want? I was just gonna say whether it sounds like there's gonna be another meeting in April, so maybe whether we can talk about what that meeting will focus on, and then figure out who our volunteers were facilitating.
Yes.
Yeah, because essentially that's all, the only things I wanted was to make sure that we kind of look through this folder, made sure you guys have the folder. That you can.
It's really helpful to have everything
and I will get better dividers, because these little stickies are not.
Thank
Doing
you.
still just fine.
Work. Yeah, they work.
It's okay.
They're divided. We didn't even divide. They could have threw them in here and I would have still.
Two dots.
She kind of
And the
divided.
little dots are not sticking out.
Student kids, so I loved it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Promiscuous dot.
As we look at trying to, moving to the end of the meeting and preparing for the next meeting, I'm assuming that there will be more discussion on the RFQ and the other items in here. If there are questions, maybe they'll be moved to the next.
Or just send them to me. Like honestly, we can start to like, if you want to just send, like, if you're thinking of something and you're like, hey, and you want a question, like, I don't know if that's maybe what Nicole was saying is better, but like,
No.
send them to me because many of the questions I probably can answer in some
Time.
form.
No, I think that'd be
or
great too,
another.
that we all get the same information. But then also, I think with the addition of the meeting and wanting to understand better, like what our hopes, dreams, wishes, desires, like, why are we here in the next meeting, I think is what folks wanted to see an additional meeting for, right?
Yeah, I would like to yeah, so I guess, what would that look like? You know what I mean? Like, how would that go in depth? I know when we introduced ourselves, I was writing down what everybody said for that. But like, how would we go, what would that look like to go deeper into that conversation? And then if that's gonna be the main meat of the meeting, or we'll do that plus trying to go more deeply into the materials in some way.
I think that comes along with once we start doing this, reviewing this RFQ, because it's a whole list, 16 things, 15 things of what prospective community members or whatever, when you guys met, expressed. So I think I don't think it has to be separate. I think it can go along with, once we start reviewing this, our goals, our visions, what we see, what we think, and what we bring back from the community, what they feel that they could see down there. I don't think it should be a separate account. You know what I mean? It could all tie into one thing. Because we're going to keep reintroducing ourselves.
Well, no,
I think the purpose is like team building and like getting more comfortable working together.
We building, but and when you speak, that's how you build it. Because you get to know me, you got to listen. But just to constantly keep reintroducing ourselves.
no, I understand. I guess I would say to add directly, like what kind of thing you would, sorry. 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 I'm so tired. I'm sorry. Chuck, I guess I would say, like, what would you like to see, like, to make sure that we have that in this April 8th meeting, that we can come in ready to do that? And if there's other things, since, if we want to go back to this, I just don't want that to be lost if that's the reason we're adding another meeting.
Take on many forms. I think it could include more in-depth statements about thoughts about Water Street. It could include going into more of these documents in depth, and what about those documents strike anyone? It could include going into the CBO document and say, what about that resonates with you? What about that seems like it doesn't resonate with you? All that stuff begins to tell me about what people are thinking. We have to listen just as hard as we like to speak, and that's an important part of being a part of a group.
I forgot one thing that might throw a wrench in the April 8th plan. All of these meetings have to be mailed public notices.
15 days, 30.
And I don't know if I have enough time to get something out for that or not.
Either, actually.
That was just a week.
Well,
Time.
It's typical.
No, it's
Is
typical.
this
It's the
something-
radius of the.
it's the radius. I did the whole city, so what my plan was, as soon as I got the dates from you guys all tonight, was gonna be to do the April and the May one, and then get all the dates out. So we might need to look.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks from today.
It's really close. And if I'm doing a full mailing of the city, which is what I was gonna do again, because they've got a new mechanism to do a blanket.
It should be for all of our dates.
Right, and that's what I was gonna do, was all the dates. And so if we picked something after the, like, the visioning session, I was intentionally, that's why I was like April 22nd, perfect, because it's far enough out to do it. If the next one of this was after that, I'm sorry, I don't mean to I just forgot
Only other day is the 15th.
That's okay.
while we were talking.
We're humans. That's cool. But that, I'm just checking. That means that we cannot / should not.
I mean, I can check tomorrow with Standard Printing whether they can get it out and whether people would have it at their doors or not.
But if they can't,
By
then we
April
wouldn't
8th.
have.
Then we wouldn't have another day. I know.
Make the decision about another day.
Right. So that's why I wonder if we should look at something after April 22nd as our second meeting.
Would the 15th be better or not?
Somebody said something about having double meeting.
Oh,
Not me, I just know somebody.
you're right. Okay.
I mean, no, that's a good catch if it's gonna be problematic. I mean,
April 15th is planning commission, you're right, that's.
oh, that's what, yeah.
You know what, and I can certainly miss a planning commission meeting.
But the whole purpose was to have it before
Yeah.
the vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you was the one that had the re-rock for the 15th, can we like do a high five vote for the being the 15th instead of the 8th so it can give back more time and get the couriers out and all of that?
Is there another room?
Are we limited?
Yeah, I mean, we can find a spot. That's not,
Okay.
it's more that he needs to be in
No, no,
two places at once.
He's a part of that.
That's fine, I'm not, I'm at least participating
you
in the
say
meeting,
you
I
did-
can't vote or anything like that, so
If it's
and
days you.
people.
How long
liaise
do
and
you
it's-
need
It'll be okay.
for to notice?
I think this is more.
The whole city? Do you think? Well, how long did you do you need? Yeah.
Because would the 15th even be enough more? I guess is my question.
I think that the 15th would be enough time for them to get, for the meeting, for the invite to get, for the notice to,
Mail it to go to everyone.
to get to everyone. Ideally before the meeting.
So it still may be critical, it's just not as critical as the 8th, is what you're saying.
Right, because it gives us another whole week.
Right.
Are we limited to Wednesdays? Could we do it, for example, on Thursday, the 16th, and then Steve could have his planning commission meeting?
Somebody else had issue.
I can't do Thursday. Yeah, I cannot do Thursdays.
But my issue with the planning commission, it's recorded and I'm the liaison.
Liaison.
I don't get to participate per se. I'm there for providing perspective from the council, but and taking information from them back. It's all recorded and I can talk to the city planner.
I'm also happy to take guidance from this committee also about how with the noticing, right? Because CBO says 100 feet within the development, and that was just Water Street. Like they have different, they had different rules,
I think full city is.
Yeah, this is an asset.
and that's why I figured that we would just do all the meeting, like the slate of meeting dates, and then if we need to do another something later on down the road, we can.
15th is slightly better for me, I would say, than the 8th. It is tax day, but maybe nobody.
Already filed my extension.
So can we do like around the table, like 0 through 5 about the so my answer is a 5 for the 15th, long as you good to go. I'm saying a 5.
Come on.
5.
Who's voting? Who's looking over?
I got one from Steve. I got one, 2, 3.
I thought the verbal was just to make sure it's on record, but we can.
Which side y'all was on? I'm doing Juanita House a 5.
I did a 4.
4.
What goes up for me?
5.
5.
5.
5.
5. Great.
That's the 15th.
Okay, so the meeting's on the 15th instead of the 8th.
Clarity, that's replacing the meeting on.
Yes.
Right, that is changing, yes. The meeting on the 8th to the 15th.
Now we need people, right? 'Cause it is after 9.
Yeah, we need a volunteer to facilitate on the 15th and a backup.
I volunteer to move us along.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
I'll be your backup.
Okay, there we
Here we
go.
go.
That's
Now you're the intern.
the 5 for me.
Teacher.
All right, 5 from Des. We're on 5.
Oh,
5.
We have to vote on it. Sorry.
5.
First of all, I don't know their names.
Dallas.
I'm Dallas.
Alice.
And Allison.
5.
All right. Dallas and Allison will be.
Okay, Allison. Oh, I got
Allison.
Allison. Yes.
I like it, Allison.
Okay.
Does that mean that I need to make an agenda for this meeting?
Um, yeah, but Katie,
Yeah, we'll work together.
yeah.
Okay.
It'll be
And
fine.
I feel like the three of you
I
then.
feel like that we have enough some direction at least from this. I guess my one clarifying question I think that it would be helpful to answer is, do we want to? I think we talked about mostly normalizing ourselves with the documents that we already have and things, unless you want me to invite AKT to the meeting.
So that is what I was going to say. I think AKT presenting or coming would be really great before all the stuff starts so that people get all the information that we do have from them.
And I'm pretty confident that Scott and Jeremy, either one of them could do a solid job of putting it in very simple terms. Like, I think that Scott does a pretty good job.
Mhm.
And if I tell him to not be a scientist and explain it to me like I'm dumb.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'm the only one.
Not calling anybody else dumb.
I don't even mean in simple terms. I mean the visual too.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, like
We get more graph
Yeah.
with all the tests that have been done, and we actually have them.
Yep. So yeah, is that
So we're asking about them coming to the 15th to that next meeting.
It definitely sounds like everybody wants more information, so that makes sense. The other thing I wanted to kind of wrap my head around, and maybe I'm just the only one, but I don't know the CBO like city council does here, and I feel like that has a lot of implications into what we're doing. So I think that at the next agenda, and Dallas, I can add this to an email to you and Katie. I think it might be nice for us just to talk about the CBO so that we understand it and our role, because that's very government jargony that I don't understand at all. I understand the science of brownfields more than I understand the CBO. So I would love some more conversation about that.
Like going over the materials, not just the RFQ, but the other stuff.
Yeah, no, actually the ordinance itself and having a little bit more familiarity with it. I know I've read a little bit about the quadruple down approach or whatever, but maybe we can just talk this through as a group so that, and maybe it will also help with some of the kind of collective values and conversation of that, but I feel like that would be helpful.
Yeah. I really felt like what I appreciated what Juanita was saying about going through these will also lift things, I think, from us as we're discussing the different materials that we have to do the work.
I got a question though.
Yes, ma'am.
How long is we gonna stay here?
Yeah, I love,
all right.
It was a 5 for a journey. No, I'm
Wait, I have one idea, and it's for homework, and so probably everyone will hate it and not want to do it. But for the visioning meeting that we're gonna have, what if we just all made a list, like 10 or 15 items of our dreams for the community benefits, like in top ranking order, so that we could understand what's most important to each person, and we shared that at the meeting. But we don't have to do that.
You talking about the second?
Or just bring it yourself.
I mean,
things
the 22nd meeting
for the 15th.
So like
Familiar yourself.
like that gives you like a rough with the priorities and what you feel like it's kind of like satisfied what Chuck would like and kind of give everybody a better idea of what everybody thinking.
Who they are and what they are.
I mean, I would like that, but I would need more information first. That's what we're really waiting on.
I would do.
I need more information.
Me too.
No.
I don't know what 15 things I could do.
So maybe, because like it could be that we do, I mean, because the meeting's only so much time. So if we're gonna have AKT,
Yes.
if we're gonna have them then go through the RFQ and the CBO, and from that figure out like where we are. I wonder if what you're talking about could happen in the June meeting, because then it will be after the visioning, after we have all this information, and then we can come in and kind of share like, hey, here's what is like really standing out for us. If that feels like it might be a good time to do that.
I will write it in my notes so we can bring it back up at the next meeting and we can shout out then. Cool.
Is it also possible to ask AKT to provide at least one person on this board who is interested in the nitty and the gritty of their findings to see the documents?
I think Katie
They publish
sent that stuff out, right?
Yeah,
we already have.
I can
not just the stuff that's in here. Like, I don't know if they're sharing it with the building department or whatever, but there's got to be more technical information, and I would be interested in looking through it.
There is, and what I can do is I certainly can share that presentation that City Council. I can share any of the presentations that they've done. They've done a couple of different presentations.
Yeah, I've seen the ones that are posted.
Okay, so you're looking for more than that still.
I have to imagine they have more technical things behind those things, and I don't. If they're not willing to share them, if there's something about them that's sensitive, then they won't. But if they are, I would look at them.
Okay.
So would I.
I mean, there's a whole brownfield plan for this.
Oh, then how about whatever information we have already about the site that you can gather? I know there's a lot, but like,
I mean, I want to come see the cabinet.
No, the presentation. I think the presentations that have already happened, because some folks have not seen them, right?
Yes.
That you can watch. Wonderful. And then any additional materials that are like not duplicating, what we have in here, right? Additionally. And then go from there. If there are deeper questions, can we ask Katie? And then see if she can find it instead of saying, send us everything you've got on all of Water Street forever. 'Cause that would be a lot.
Yeah, you'd have to just come sit in my office.
That would be
BYOB?
But yeah, I can certainly also ask some more questions.
Curious if there's other things.
The brownfield plan might be like a real, it's not fun, but like it is that, you know what I mean? And it's
not.
about financing and you know what I mean? The amount of nitty gritty in that is.
And I think also some of what some of what will satisfy you is this work that we're doing with Eagle right now to do a phase one comprehensively over the full site, because different phase ones have happened over different periods of time. And so they're just not comprehensive. And so now we're trying to do that where we can say to a developer, here's the historical uses for the site, right? And which will then also help narrow down what some of the contamination might look like. And then a phase two potentially as well, before we release this RFQ.
I suggested at the next meeting, part of that is that you explain to everybody what a phase.
I know. Well, phase one is historical uses. I'm trying not to use too much jargon, and then phase two would actually be more testing and to identify the actual contaminants on the site, not just what we think based on the historical uses.
Want more information, and we'll get some more information.
Yes, I will work on more information. I have a meeting with AKT every Friday, and I will ask them about it this Friday.
And the last thing I'll say, I think before, if that's okay, is that I do want to name that, like, you all are volunteering your time, and I want us to respect time. You're not city council. We can be here till 1 o'clock because we gotta be. I don't think we gotta finish the stuff.
Yeah.
I just mean on the next agenda, for instance, because we're talking about so much, can we potentially have some time constraints around that, or decide that at the beginning of the meeting so that we get through the meeting respectfully to time? Because again, while we do it and we know how we feel, I don't want y'all to have to do that if you don't have to.
So I'm happy to say that, like, I don't know if you guys want to spend an hour with AKT and then we do an hour of reviewing documents. Too much?
Time for AKT.
That's a lot.
That's a lot for that.
I'd rather have more time for us.
Oh, okay. So we want 30-minute presentation from me? I mean, I figured that would also be conversation with them and look, but you guys have questions and get them answered.
Yes. 3 minutes. They should get to the nitty gritty because they're gonna have to know what's there.
Yep.
The developer, right? In order to place whatever they gotta place.
Okay, so and then
that's all. I think Steve. Steve, you asking? I don't want to speak for you, Chuck. I'm sorry. Sorry, Chuck. But I would ask the same thing if I was a developer. Just the baseline of what?
Okay, so 30 minutes AKT, an hour and a half for documents and conversation.
Yeah, if we want to stretch AKT's time out, we can do that, but don't give it to them.
Okay.
They'll fill it up.
That part. That part.
Give them 20 minutes.
They'll take 40.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot.
Lost all our audience and everything. So.
It always happens. We thank you.
I do want to say I have a poster board that person in Ward 2 had used to do. I've met so many people that have done presentations on Water Street, but she's got this board that is a nice, map of the thing. So it's I'll bring it in. It's a good reminder.
I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm sorry.
No, no.
I gotta get up.
Yeah, no.
Yep.
Are we all?
All right, everybody feel like we're good for the next meeting? Dowson will meet with Katie.
Dallas.
To fortify our agenda. Everybody good?
Yes.
All right, then our meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Five, yeah.
Thank you.
For